Woke up this morning with a wine glass in my hand. Whose wine? What wine? Where the hell did I dine? Well, good Wednesday evening to everybody. How are you? It's good to see you. It is good to be seen by you. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live on a Wednesday evening from an undisclosed location somewhere in the swamps of Central Florida. And I hope everybody is having a fantastic evening. All four of you who are watching this live stream, all four of you. That's, four more than before I went live, right? But anyway, so, I hope you're having a good Wednesday. I've been better myself. Ultimately it doesn't really matter all that much. But I'm here. I am here. So, and you guys are too. So that's what counts. That's what counts. Christopher Sims, Lord Corion, Kabuki Kid, Michael Dale, Vincent Noda Bartolo, 2470 QWERTY, and Wave of Mutilation, who was on for at least a little while. Mead Mornog, you're out there too. I see you. It's only Wednesday, but hey, we've got plenty of time to have fun, right? So, yeah, I was feeling a little ranty today. I have been feeling a little ranty today. I've been feeling a lot ranty today. And I thought there's two things I can do. I can basically, because Kyle's not here. I don't know when Kyle's going to return. That's, that's life, as the chairman said. So, we do what we can. And I thought, I could just unload tonight. I could just vent tonight, critical reactor venting. And I might still do that tomorrow, but I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm not going to do it tonight. If I'm going to lose followers and subscribers, I want it to be after I talk about something positive, not before, right? So anyway, standing Bill is usually pretty mellow. Usually when I'm standing up, I'm feeling very positive. But anyhow, so we've got some fun stuff to discuss tonight, or a fun thing to discuss tonight, and I'm going to save the rants for later. Don't worry about it, QWERTY. Don't worry about it. It's just the usual state of things. But anyhow, I'm still hearing from folks, although a lot less on the front of what to do with a bounty of D&D books, the set of AD&D rule books, modules, I'm supposed to have a copy of Oriental Adventures coming, and so on. So yeah, I just to let people know, I'm unless somebody hits me with something that is really just like, look, this person absolutely, it will be a process of deciding. It will be a process of deciding. I'm not gonna, like, you're not gonna hear like next week, the week after, any of that. It's literally just a process it's gonna take a while. So uh, be patient, please. I ask of you, be patient with that. I mean, and to answer your question, Michael Dale, yeah, there are some there are some leads, but again, I want to hold that door open as long as possible because that's just how I am. Um, I don't think that's true, entirely true, Cordy. I think if you sit down and you play classic D&D with the young crowd, they love it just as much as modern D&D, if not a little bit more. The problem is, of course, can I go into the store and buy classic D&D? And D? And the answer is, of course, no. You can't. You can get it print on demand on drive-through, but that's really it. So, you know, Vincent's asked, are there any viewers of the show that don't have a set of books? Vincent, probably not, which is why I ask you guys to keep your eyes and ears open. You're my little army out there, and you're going to find somebody out there. You're going to put the word out there to someone, they don't have the books and they can't afford them and they won't be able to afford them for whatever reason. That's what you guys need to do for me to help people. Good evening, Shinchara. I mean, Vincent, you're meeting gamers all the time, right? Because you're gaming in Hawkins. So maybe you'll bump into somebody who just like misty-eyed remembers this of their youth, and they just, it's beyond their means to go to eBay and pay the fucking the freaking extortionate prices, or even the like $100 for all 3 core books, print on demand. And I know everyone says, well, Bill, you can point them to Osric, can't you? Osric isn't D&D. Osric is a damn close approximation, and it lets you publish AD&D stuff as long as you don't say AD&D or D&D on it. Hey, Vincent, that's awesome. That's fantastic. They're very similar, but they're not the same. I don't even think of it as 2 different artists. It's like, okay, when I was a kid, I wanted like an Ozzy Osbourne greatest hits album. I wanted an album that had Iron Man and Bark at the Moon and Crazy Train and all of the good Ozzy stuff on it. And, well, I mean, such a thing didn't exist. Greatest hits albums existed back then, of course, in the 70s. Greatest hits albums have always existed. But I mean, nobody was going to print something in the 80s immediately on the heels. They wanted you buying all those individual albums. Well, I said, the heck with you guys, and I grabbed a copy of Tribute, which is Ozzy's great concerts with Randy Rhoads playing guitar. And it's good, but, live versions sometimes aren't exactly what you want. Hey, Yang, how was your live stream? Yang had like, I saw like you peaked out at like what, 12, 15 people watching your stream, counting the folks over on Twitter. I think you do better on Twitter than you do on YouTube, and I say that as a compliment. Yeah, Castles and Crusades misses the mark. It's Castles and Crusades ain't D&D. It ain't AD&D. And I've told you guys about the verb why. So anyway, I want people to have these books. I want someone to have these books. All right. Somebody who's going to put their arms around them and hug them. And David, I don't, I'm not denigrating the Troll Lords or anything they do. I mean, you guys got to remember, if my work had gotten published, the hundreds of thousands of words I wrote for Gary, if that had all gotten published as planned, it would have been published for the Castles and Crusades rule set. But with that said, my design document is this book right here. All right. This was my blueprint. This was my design document. This is how I made all my stuff for Castles and Crusades, for Gary, for Yigsburg. I mean, I had his world building notes, but that was the book I used to help me write this stuff. So, and you might be tempted to say, well, that just shows how compatible they are, Bill. Anyway, I want to be careful because I don't want to come off like I'm bashing Castles and Crusades. I know a lot of you guys love Castles and Crusades. So anyway, I guess all of this is to say, I want someone to have first edition AD&D. I wish I could give Ironcaster says I'm going to be grabbing the rolled up newspaper in a minute. And you know, I was kind of thinking about something. But I don't know how feasible this is because of how expensive it would be. About doing a holiday giveaway of the core sets. You know, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. We'll have to see what 2025 holds. Ain't hell, I could fall into a hole tomorrow, right? Jack Neller, hello. And that's fine. And I love, I have spoken my love of this bad boy right here. Come on. Of this bad boy right here. I absolutely adore Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. But it's not D&D, and it doesn't scratch the same itches. It's a very different game from Dungeons and Dragons. And Jimmy, that's fine. Again, I'm not sitting over here, I'm not slamming it. I'm just saying that if you handed me a collection of Castles and Crusades stuff and a collection of AD&D stuff, what I would want to give to somebody first, it would be the AD&D stuff. That's just where I'm at. That's just where I'm at. I'm not saying I wouldn't give the Castles and Crusades stuff. And believe me, I used to have a lot. I had Gary's World Builder books. I got all those from Troll Lord Games. Of course, I got the Castle Zagig Volume 1 from them. I had Hall of Many Pains for a while. Had to sell it for grocery money, along with the World Builder books. I had the Legendary Adventure Core books because I was going to work on Legendary Adventures with Gary. But you know, that's it's, you know, it all had to go. So let's see. Damien, hello. Thetan, not much. Oh, and hello, Ironcaster. So, yeah, I don't really have anything insightful to add to that, but we've actually got something very cool that we're gonna look at. We're gonna go into tonight, and I talked a little bit about this yesterday. So let me tell you a little bit about something. I'm gonna blow some sunshine up her ego, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about this young lady. I only knew her as Emmy, EMI, Elven Maid Inn. And I bumped into her on Twitter. And I mean, at first blush, I was like, okay, you like Castles and Crusades, you like cutesy anime art, and you talk all the time about, what is it, Sword Art Online? No, that's not it. What's the one my kids play all the time? It's a Japanese cartoon game. What is it called? A gadget game? Something like that. Anyway, I can't remember. But then she started talking about tabletop RPGs. And so I said, thank you, Genshin Impact. Shinchara, thank you. Genshin Impact. But then I noticed that this young lady was starting to talk a lot about tabletop RPGs. So I convinced her that she might want to try the old school stuff out. And so she's, as I have said before, tabletop RPG Twitter is actually a pretty cool place. Now, I like to think of myself as a creator in the tabletop RPG space. What this young lady, Elven Maid Inn, Emmy, I'm just going to say Emmy because it sounds weird every time I call her Elven Maid Inn, like I'm going to start sharing inappropriate Japanese cartoon pictures with you guys. She took a look at the sea of disparate stuff out there for classic tabletop RPGs. And she kind of looked around, I'm just metaphorically speaking, I'm guessing, and said, this stuff's got to get organized. And so she started to do that. And out of nowhere, this young lady, she set about to creating a magazine, a TTRPG magazine. I don't mean a PDF, boys and girls. I mean a bona fide physical paper. You can get this on DriveThruRPG magazine. It is called Tales from the Tavern, and we're going to be taking a look at this bad boy tonight. This ain't no chump change. First of all, let me tell you something. This guy is chunky. This is almost 100 pages. This is one issue. She's working on the second issue. Okay? She has dived in head first. And the first issue, this is out. You can get this on DriveThruRPG. I forgot to put the link in the description, but you guys can check that out. And we're going to jump into this, and we're going to look at Elven Maid Inn's book. I'm going to have it up on the screen. Yes, you guys are going to find out exactly how far down the rabbit hole you can go. Now, if you've just been getting like glimpses of the cover art and everything there, don't worry. We're going to have, we're actually going to have a full PDF. Yes, Viking Hat. There is my co-host. 100. That is longer than a lot of RPGs. Well, there is a lot of stuff in here. So, are you guys ready for me to stop meandering and for us to get into a deep dive of Tales from the Tavern? Are you ready? Yes, you're ready. So here we go. This is issue 1 of Tales from the Tavern. Now, full disclosure, 2 things. I am interviewed in this issue. I will be contributing to the second, possibly third issue, and I received this and the PDF copy for free. This is $8.99 normally, so this was gifted to me, and it's already, as Ironcaster points out, a copper bestseller. So, let's jump in and take a look at this. First of all, feast your eyes on this absolutely gorgeous cover art. This is by Magic the Gathering and D&D artist Richard Witters, who's a buddy of mine. He did this just simply fantastic cover art. Presumably that's Emmy on the cover there, but I don't know that for sure. Yes, exactly, Kabuki. When holding a torch, you always extend your little finger. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. And Emmy told me what this was, and I've forgotten. But yes, Richard did the cover art, and it is to die for. Yes, Miss Bella, that is amazing cover art. But that is banging, and I absolutely love it. Just drink it in, guys. So issue 1, summer 2024 by Kay Bauer. And I want you guys to look at that. It's one person. That is one determined young lady. Cover art, Richard Witters. Cover design, Kay Bauer. Interior art, Kay Bauer. Dmitry Ivanov. Sketchosaurus Rex. Contributor, Snowy Maps. Eric Reiner. Jack, Lost Lore Scholar. Bangs Homebrew and Maps. Editorial advice by me. Aaron Lind. Alan of Fermatis. The Grey Mage. Cinemander. And Blackwood. This page is clearly intentionally left blank. And I read this special thanks last night, and it apparently choked Emmy up in a good way. So I shan't retread it here, other than to say that you may discount and disregard Emmy at your peril. I don't know, Kabuki. I don't know. I hear he's kind of just like a guy full of hot air. And there's, of course, follow the contributor. That's not something you'd see in an old zine, right? You can follow these people. And, of course, she takes a little bit of support on Ko-Fi there. And here we come to the table of content. Probably should have been table of contents. I think my PDF is a little bit early because I'm pretty sure the print says table of contents, but let me see. No, table of content. I mean, I think you can go either way, but from hero to villain, the tragic arc of D&D Paladins, interview with Tony Garcia, Dystopian Dawn, character creation, Snowy's Maps Emporium, NPC Extravaganza, Thaddeus Blackthorn, Warhammer on a Budget, Maggie's Lux Fantasia, interview with Dungeon Delver, speaking of hot air, NPC Extravaganza, Alenia's Starwind, Forest Cap's Mushroom, and Lorendal Feather Whisper Pie. I'm guessing we got some recipe going in there. Snowy's Maps Emporium. Siren, which I actually previewed with Emmy. Noxus map, rather. The Where Touched, Library of Spells, Chimera, Cursed Items, Realms of Valinor, The Corner, Glen Cook, The Black Company, Avian and Sunfruit Salad, The Gods of Valinor, Harmony Hair Chromatic Transmutation, Knights and Monsters, Crossword Solution, because yes, there is a crossword in here, and then a call to action or two in the back. Where is it? I don't know where she is. Probably asleep. I would wager that she is probably asleep right now. I'm not at Gen Con, and I will never go to Gen Con. It's a bit like Dragon Magazine, but I think it's a little... It's a little better. What is going on with my connection? Why is my connection so awful all of a sudden? Hang on a second. Let me look into this. God damn it. I've got 500 up and 500 down. I should not be getting a low connection speed warning from StreamYard. No, I should not. Pardon me a second here, guys, while I troubleshoot, and we'll get back to this in just a moment. Oh, yeah, it's super slow. All right, nothing I can do. Well, it's the first issue, Kyle, so hopefully we'll get that. Hopefully we'll get to that. All right, so let's jump in here. Word from creators. It's kind of a forward to the issue here. Let me begin with a heartfelt expression of gratitude. Thank you immensely for taking the time to download this magazine or get a physical copy. I think I mentioned this before. If I didn't, it's $8.99 on drive-thru. It's 90 plus pages long. It's contentful, guys, and it's a quarterly, so, you know. Thank you immensely for taking the time to download this magazine. Your support means the world to me. From the depths of my imagination, I embarked on the exhilarating journey of creating Tales from the Tavern, a magazine dedicated to exploring my beloved hobby. This publication is my homage to the vibrant community of enthusiasts who immerse themselves in the realms of TTRPG games, board games, war games, and the captivating genres of fantasy and science fiction literature. Within this vast universe, there exists a multitude of remarkable content creators whose dedication knows no bounds. Tales from the Tavern was conceived with the purpose of showcasing their extraordinary talent, for that is the essence of our mission. It's worth noting that this magazine will always remain freely accessible to all, perpetually. In a landscape often marred by controversy and division, our sanctuary, the Elven Maid Inn, stands as a bastion of tranquility. Here, within these pages, we transcend the political fray, transcending the boundaries of ideology and prejudice. There is no right or left, no discrimination or hatred, only a space where creators can unabashedly share their craft and connect with an audience. I sincerely hope that you find joy and inspiration within the pages of this magazine. Your continued support and encouragement mean everything to us. Please know that you're always welcome to return to our humble tavern whenever you desire. Here's to many more adventures together in the future. All right, so let's continue. And a lovely little sketch there. All right, so here we've got the first article, and as per keeping with my deep dives, I'm going to look at interesting articles. We're not necessarily going to gonna read all of these in their entirety, but I did want to look at the paladin because I was feeling salty about paladins earlier. And I think this probably kicked off Emmy's article, maybe me being salty about it. So she goes into a lot of historical discussion of paladins. Um, Ironcaster wants to add the Elven Maid Inn to your game. You should. You should. You absolutely should. Let's see. Among TTRPG social media, we constantly have a sparse group topics that recirculate every few months. Of these topics, there is one that keeps boggling me: evil paladins. I do not wish to poke the hornet's nest, but instead try to understand why there is an issue with evil paladins and why people are so passionate about it. We can see a clear line between support and hate for the evil paladins concept. This line is often related to the version of Dungeons and Dragons the person is playing. Those whose preferred system is older than 4th edition usually tend to side against this concept, while those that play 4th and 5th editions are usually in favor of it. This perfectly corresponds with the approach each version of D&D has treated paladins. To better understand this disagreement, let's start with the historical meaning of the word paladin and see where that will take us. And then she goes into some very well-researched historical stuff about the paladin. But I think we're going to... Now, again, it's a deep dive, but it's over 100 pages, and I want to get to as much of this good content as possible. So let's see. So let's jump right in with the gaming part here. The title Paladin came back to Commons language in the 20th century as paladins have become a trope in modern fantasy. A paladin character class was introduced in 1975 for Dungeons & Dragons in Supplement 1, Greyhawk. The Dungeons & Dragons character class was reportedly inspired by the protagonist of the 1962 fantasy novel Three Hearts and Three Lions, which was itself a pastiche of various elements of medieval and post-medieval legend, including elements of the Matter of France and inherited traits of the medieval version of the paladin. They are associated with ideals of chivalry, a code of conduct, and are depicted as champions of God in Dungeons & Dragons. In Supplement 1, Greyhawk, Gary Gygax, and Rob Kuntz describe paladins as charisma scores of 17 or greater by fighters indicate the possibility of paladin status if they are lawful from the commencement of play for that character. If such fighters elect to, they can then become paladins, always doing lawful deeds. For any chaotic act will immediately revoke the status of paladin, and it can never be regained. The paladin has a number of very powerful aids in his continual seeking for good. Hello, Raven Wolfgar. It's good to see you. And so we continue. As we can see in this brief description, a fighter could only become a paladin if they were lawful, and this was printed in capital letters, showing how important that fact was. Not only that, soon after we have this statement: for any chaotic act will immediately revoke the status of paladin, and it can never be regained. There was no redemption for a paladin. If you ever committed an evil deed, you lost all your benefits of being a paladin, no exceptions. It is important to note that back then the alignment system was completely different. We had 3 alignments: law, neutral, and chaos. Some may argue that this leaves room for interpretation, but if read closer, the description of the subclass states the paladin has several very powerful aids in his continual seeking for good. That shows that paladins were seeking good, not evil. It is worth noting that the Paladin was not a separate class. It was a subclass of Fighting Man similar to 1977 Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, where Paladin subclass was part of the player's handbook. Like Supplement 1, the AD&D Paladins have a set of conditions that need to be followed. And then there she launches into the description from the player's handbook. And of course, she notes that we have the anti-paladin, which of course is in Dragon magazine in 1980, issue number 39, as examples of corrupted paladins. And yes, there's an article describing an NPC that is a champion of chaos and evil created by George Laking and Tim Mesford, but the anti-paladin was never published outside of a magazine in any AD&D book. With today's wording, we would call it homebrew NPC and probably nothing more. And that's exactly correct. But I don't want to get hung up on just talking about this. We're just kind of looking at the article. So the author here, Emmy, she draws from a lot of great sources on the paladin and kind of puts her own spin on it. Oh, and we have an ad there. We like ads. So this is Dawn of the Forest Black. There's a QR code, which I can never get those things to work on my phone. I don't know what's wrong with me. Available on Amazon. Ever wonder how elves first came into being? Well, you see, when Eru loves music very, very much, he and music have a special hug. Sorry. But to continue on, guys, how am I coming through? Okay, I see like StreamYard right now is being very laggy. I think I'm seeing like a low bandwidth indicator, and it has been all night long. So is that everything? Is everything okay? 5x5. Okay, QWERTY says it's 5x5, and I sound fine. Okay, so let's continue. So again, she goes heavy into that now. And she takes a look at the 3rd edition Player's Handbook. Takes a look at the 3rd edition Player's Handbook and says, the compassion, this is from the 3E Player's Handbook that she quotes. And you notice I skipped over the 2E, just, you know. The compassion to pursue good and the will to uphold law and the power to defeat evil. These are the 3 weapons of the paladin. Few have the purity and devotion that it takes to walk the paladin's path, but those few are rewarded with the power to protect, to heal, and to smite. In a land of scheming wizards, unholy priests, bloodthirsty dragons, and infernal fiends, the paladin is the final hope that cannot be extinguished. I never thought I would say something in such great agreement with 3rd edition, but there we are. But she continues. And then she goes on. Oh, we have artwork by Patrick Dwyer there, Sketchosaurus Rex. But let's get to her. Let's get to her conclusion here, because we know about the varying types of paladin out there. So it says, as we can see, we wrap up with this, as we can see with a look into the history of D&D, the paladin evolved from subclass that punished evil actions by stripping them of their powers to simply making them an evil paladin, to simply making an evil paladin a reality. Hopefully you can see a simple reason old school players can't accept the concept of evil paladins, why newer players who join D&D during the 4th and 5th editions are more likely to accept such a concept. My personal opinion, that is the author's personal opinion, is that she shares the sentiment of old school players. Good on you, Emmy. Paladins should stay champions of good and justice. I do understand that a champion of God should not only be good. Good gods don't have a monopoly on their own knights. I do believe a mistake was made in the 3rd edition when Paladin became a full-fledged class, and the problem was not in the class itself, but rather the name Paladin. If the class was called Champion or Knight, there would be no conversation about whether it can or can't be evil. And so we sum up. No, I'm with you, Daniel. So what will WotC do about it? I don't believe they'll want to do anything about it in the first place. Even when the players are fighting, they are talking about D&D, and that generates noise on the internet. And people are always talking about D&D. That alone is making WotC happy, so they won't change anything. If I oversaw D&D, I would change the name of the class to Squire, and then at level 3, you pick a subclass based on what pick the subclass would be, Paladin, Blackguard, Crusader, etc. It would make much more sense historically and would respect the legacy of the Paladin subclass, but I'm not. I'm counting the days when Carousel will bring conversation about evil Paladins around once again. So there you go, guys. That's the article on Paladinhood. So let's continue. That's just one article, so we got to skim faster. So we got a TTRPG word search. Let's just have a quick look. Oh, I've got one here. Hose. I mean, that's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Oh, I'm going to get canceled for that. Let's see. Proficiency. All kidding aside, we got proficiency. Let's see. Any other ones? Any other ones? So we got proficiency, and no, hose is not one of them. Oh, I thought I had lich there. Oh, is gear? Is gear? Because I see gear. Nope. Gear is not there. Quest. Oh, you saw quest? Let's see. Ah, quest. Yes, there's some diagonal. So I see quest there. Yes. So we got a couple. So there it is. And another ad. This from Wretched Spaghetti Punk Worlds of Adventure. Find us at moorderherrer.com. You can pause your screen and type that in. And then we have an interview with Tony Garcia, creator of Dystopian Dawn. And I hope to talk to Tony soon, too. But we have an interview here with Tony Garcia. It's an interview. I'm not going to do the whole thing because, honestly, you guys should be downloading this and checking it out yourself. Hey, I put my hair in a ponytail sometimes, Kyle. It's so weird having Kyle in the chat but not on the show. It's like I look out in the audience and my co-host is sitting out there hobnobbing with the with the audience. All right, so we have an interview with Tony of Dystopian Dawn, and it's Emmy. You know, she's doing it. Downloading it. I bought that sucker physical too. Heck yeah! If Emmy had not gifted me an issue, I would have bought it. I absolutely would have bought a copy myself. So yeah, we have a nice interview with Tony. A lovely piece of art for the interview right there. I like it. It's got an early Dragon magazine vibe to it. And a whole big section on Dystopian Dawn right there. Viking Hat asks, wasn't there a talk show where the guests sat in the audience and were then called up just to surprise the audience about who the guest was today? I mean, there's a few that have kind of tried that. So we'll talk to Tony in there. That is a right proper pig faced dude from Solifane. Then we have a crossword, which I also suck at. You can give me all the letters, or you can give me none of the letters. I don't do well. So one down. We'll do a couple of these. We'll do a couple down and a couple cross. Reanimated corpses driven by dark magic or necromancy. I think that's going to be ZOMBIE. Okay, zombie. That's easy. I think 4 is probably pretty easy. Fortified structure, often serving as a seat of power for nobility. Why, that's going to be CASTLE. We got a castle right there. Skill or expertise in a particular weapon, tool, or activity. And that is 5 down. PROFI. See, I can type proficiency out, but I think that one's proficiency. Term used to describe the more complex rules of D&D used in 1st and 2nd edition. I think 8 would be advanced. Advanced. 8 down, advanced. ADVANCED. Yep, it fits. If it fits, it sits. Shinchar says, apparently I'm at a point in life where I look at a crossword puzzle and see a dungeon map. Me too. Just stick some rooms on the end of all those and you've got your dungeon map right there. Let's see. Underground complexes filled with traps, monsters, and treasures. Why, whatever could that be? DUNGEON. School of Magic dealing with death, undeath, and manipulating souls. That's probably necromancy. NECROMANCY. Yeah, it fits. Undead creatures that feed on the blood of the living to sustain themselves. IRS auditors doesn't fit, so I'm guessing it's probably vampires. And supernatural forces harnessed through spells. Don't know that one. 2 across. 2 across is easy. That's drow. Shape-shifting creatures. It's going to be that disguise themselves as mundane objects. Oh, I don't know. Maybe mimics. You can see how it goes. Lawyer. There you go, Cordy. Lawyer. WotC CEOs. Praxis says that. Hello, Praxis. Wave says loves the original Planet of the Apes. I love the original Planet of the Apes. I'm not. I won't even. I just, for all the jokes and memes that get made about it, that ending. That is arguably one of the best cinematic endings. No music. Doesn't fade to silence with the credits. Fades to black. And you can hear the ocean. There's no comfort in the end of Planet of the Apes. It breaks the fourth wall and leaves you. It abandons you on that beach, staring at the Statue of Liberty on a destroyed Earth. It is cinematic brilliance. And the punch, the gravitas that Heston gives it when he yells the word maniacs. It's not aimed at any country. It's aimed at the scientists who invented the bombs, the politicians who planned to use the bombs, the generals who laid out the strategies to use the bombs, and the men that actually delivered the bombs, and the people who cheered them on or sat in mute inaction while it went on. So good. So good. And it is so rare that you get that weight. That absolute weight. Anyway, let's continue on. Ooh, let's pry into Elven Maid Inn. Emmy facts. This is not facts about Emmy. Emmy facts. Did you know succubi are beings of darkness, born from the nightmares of mortals and the depths of the abyss? They endure ordinary demons, no sir. These fiends take pleasure in seducing folks, whispering sweet lies and promises of desire till they've drained the very life from their victims. And watch out, because they can change their shape quicker than you can blink, making them tricky to spot. Oh, and here's a tidbit for you. Succubi are always female. If you come across a male counterpart, that'd be an incubus, but those are a whole different kettle of fish. Or flesh, as the case may be. I remember one night I had had a bottle of wine or two, and myself and some friends went into a Blockbuster video. Yes. And they were doing like, let me see, it was 68. So 78 would be 10 years. 88 would be 20 years. 98 would be 30 years. So this was 2003. I don't remember. It was some significant anniversary re-release, and they had a Statue of Liberty standee with the DVDs and videotapes you could rent. Because again, this was in the early 2000s. And we were around the corner, and I see this thing. I did the whole spiel. I fell to my knees. I did too. And my buddy Sean, who was with me, I was like, I'm about to get us thrown out of here, aren't I? And he's like, no, the people at the front counter are like cracking up. I was like, oh, cool. All right, so let's move on. So we have a section on Dystopian Dawn character creation. So if you're going to be playing Dystopian Dawn, here's a whole section on creating characters, and that's pretty spiffy. Not knowing enough about Dystopian Dawn, I can't really dig into this other than to say, here's an article on it. But see, so this is, so let me tell you, Thayton knows what I'm talking about. He never, that breaks my heart, Viking. Kyle, that just destroys me. Thayton remembers that standee. I called a local video store in the 80s because I wanted a copy of The Hunt for Red October. I didn't want to wait for it to come on HBO and tape it. I called the video rental store, and I was like, can I buy a copy of The Hunt for Red October? And the lady at the counter who answered was like, that'll cost $90. $90 when I was in my late teens would be like $500 for me today. So I was like, oh, well, thank you. And then it came on HBO, and I taped it. Dystopian Dawn is Shinchara. Anyway, pardon me. So I will when I talk to Dystopian Dawn's creator, I will come back and go more into depth than that. But magazines back in the day would often do that. Like they'd feature an article on something, and then later another article, like computer game magazines and computer programming magazines like Compute's Gazette. It's like, oh, we review this game. And then there's an article later in the magazine on best strategies for this game. So this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Oh, I remember I rented, my girlfriend and I rented a laser disc. There was actually a Blockbuster that did laser disc rentals. And we rented Lethal Weapon 2. Didn't really watch it. We were doing other things that night. It was 2 days overdue. The late fees on the Laserdisc were $30. I literally could have bought the disc at Circuit City for what 2 days of late fees cost me on that damn thing. Not to count the like $7 or $8 for the rental. I was pissed. So anyway, Dystopian Dawn. Dmitry Ivanov there gives us that lovely fox-eared mutant there for Dystopian Dawn. And we have another ad here. An epic action-packed sci fantasy adventure here. The Soul of Chaos from Gregory Wonderland. And there are links there. We have a nice little village map. Now, it's a good map. I have said before, I'm not crazy about maps that go nuts with the internal details. This one does, and that's okay. But where I think we kind of lose the plot a little bit is the fact that it is all gray tone. That make, do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, I would have preferred just a line art version without the shading, since it's got to be in black and white. But it's not awful or anything. It's fine looking. And I guess, here we go. Snowy's map. Okay. I see what's going on. You can download a copy of the map and support Snowy on Patreon. So perhaps that's a color map. Perhaps it's a color map. And we have an NPC here. And you might notice there's no stats here. Well, alignment. But this is a character you can stat up for any game. Depressing 70s sci-fi, really, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Really, it's more 60s, 70s depressing, 60s, 70s sci-fi, because we had Colossus, the Forbin Project. We had, what was it, Phase 4, Damnation Alley, Logan's Run, what else? Rollerball, Planet of the Apes, of course, Idaho Transfer. This is pretty bleak stuff. Silent Running. Okay, Kabuki mentioned Soylent Green, very much Soylent Green. But Kabuki mentions Close Encounters. Oh, and Omega Man. Can't forget Omega Man. I'm just going to say it. Soylent Green. Close Encounters depresses the hell out of me. Like, it's not a pleasant movie. Yeah, Colossus the Forbin Project is an unhappy movie. The guys who went to... Salvage 1. I loved the Salvage 1 TV show when I was a kid. It kept getting preempted. Anyway, so yeah, you can stat this guy up any way you want. You could probably even change his alignment if you wanted. Warhammer on a Budget, your guide to affordable entry into the hobby. So here basically he goes into, you buy an army for ultra cheap on eBay, you strip them with a little debt haul, and you go to town. ME Facts about Sisters of Battle. Andromeda Strain. Yep, Andromeda Strain. Halsey, was there a 70s movie called Virus? I know there was the comic in the 90s, and then they made it into a very quickly forgotten Jamie Lee Curtis vehicle. I've not seen The Water Margin. Anyway, to continue. Did you know, those Sisters of Battle ain't your ordinary soldiers? They're like the Emperor's own elite force, trained since they were knee-high to a grot. They don't just fight, they believe in the Emperor, in their mission, and the whole shebang. And when they march out, they ain't messing around. Their gear, top-notch. Their resolve, unbreakable. And they're not just about bashing heads. They're out there preaching the Imperial Creed, sniffing out heretics like truffles. So next time you see those ladies in black armor, know this. They're not just warriors. They're the living embodiment of the Emperor's will, and they'll clean house on anyone who stands in their way. Exceptionally sure. Exceptionally sure of that. Huh. That sounds interesting, Halsey. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, so the Sisters of Battle, in case you don't know, they're combat nuns for 40K. For all the people who've complained about, why aren't there female started? Sisters of Battle. They wear power armor. They wield the same weapons as Space Marines. And they have, in lore, none of the disadvantages. Also in lore, 3/5 of the Marine chapters fell to chaos during the Horus Heresy. 3/5 of them. Do you know how many sisters have fallen to chaos? Ever? Ever? One. Not chapters. Not nunneries. Not planets run by the sisters. One sister of battle has gone over to chaos. Ever. Ever. Now, okay, Halsey, yes, now that springs to mind. Yes. Wait, bikini girls with machine guns. I wouldn't call them that. Not unless I was a few planets away and planning to die in the next 5 minutes anyhow. Anyway. Maggie Locke's Fantasia, Everyday Cantrip for Bewitching Beauty from the Journals of Elven Maid. So we go into the lore of a homemade spell. But let's get to the meat of the spell here. It's just fun, silly lore. So we have casting time, one action, range, touch, components, verbal, somatic material, a lock of the target's hair, a sprig of rosemary, incantation, Silva Lunas Capital in Capillus Mihi in Modrum Desiderium Cordis Mei. I mutilated that, probably because I didn't want to cast a spell. Description: you touch a willing creature and alter the texture, length, and hairstyle of their hair according to their desire. Spell can lengthen or shorten the hair up to a maximum of double its original or half its original. It can also straighten or curl the hair as desired by the target. The spell does not include hair growth on a bald scalp, nor can it alter the color of the hair. So what you would want to do if somebody was bald, you'd want to hit them with a cantrip hairy, and then to style it, you'd want this. Oh, look at that. Another ad. Whatever could this be for? Let's read. The Delver's Dungeon. Ooh, that sounds nasty. A broadcast channel for the classic D&D wargamer, available for your enjoyment 5 nights a week of tabletop role-playing game discussion with additional breaking news, interstitial videos as the hobby grows and changes. Join a vibrant community of commentators, viewers, and creators. News, views, product reviews, actual gameplays, interviews with creators from the earliest days of the hobby, as well as new creators. And there is a link, good reader, that you can follow. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting us via Patreon at that link. We proudly provide our $10 patrons and YouTube membership holders with an advanced Dungeons & Dragons adventure module every... And then there's... QR code links. And there's a handsome looking fellow. You're a weirdo, Harry. Read that in my... Raven, if you want that read in my Alex Jones voice, there's one way to get that. There's one way to get it. I don't set a minimum. I don't set a minimum, but there is only one way to get the Alex Jones voice. Is anyone going to do it? So here's the interview with me. Emmy talked to me. You guys don't want to hear this. You can, when you download this, you can read it later. A little screenshot of me. Can I, let me see. Mike, though, this is really new because there's my mic. Gosh, which way am I leaning? I think I'm just... And I'm leaning in like this. And I'm smiling. So there we go. All right. So there we go. It's an interview with me. This is a little hard to read, if I'm being honest. This ad. All right, Wave of Mutilation has contributed to $1 US, but that is all. That is all I ask. If this monkey is going to dance for you guys, you got to throw a penny in the cup. All right, here we go. It's been a while since I've done this. The Delver's Dungeon, a broadcast channel for the classic D&D wargamer. Available for your enjoyment 5 nights a week, people. I tried to warn you. You wouldn't listen to me. Of tabletop role-playing game discussion with additional breaking news, interstitial videos as the hobby grows and changes. We're through the looking glass here, people. And you can believe me or not. What do I do, oh Lord? You got to bring this to the people. Join a vibrant community of commentators, viewers, and creators. News, views, product reviews, actual game plays. Interviews with creators from the earliest days of the hobby, as well as new creators. You can find us on YouTube. There's the link. Click the link. Follow us on YouTube. It's the only way you're going to find out the facts, people, the things they don't want you to know. And if you enjoy this content, please, I'm asking you, just this one time, consider supporting us on Patreon. And there's the link. We proudly provide our $10 patrons and YouTube members, ship holders, with an advanced Dungeons & Dragons adventure every month, and colloidal silver, and a water filter, and a hand crank generator. All right. GM equals globalist master. Woof. Yeah, low-key Aussie burn. Yeah. It is. It's rough. I to be honest, I would have much rather preferred it had been, hey, Bill, do this in the Tucker Carlson voice. That I don't. It's, I think he is. I think he is Viking. Another NPC. She's neutral good this time, but again, you can stat her up as you like. Alenia Starwind. Alex Jones. All right, y'all want me to do the Bill Sylvie voice? Hey guys, this is the Dungeon Delver. Welcome to the show. It's good to see y'all. It's good to be seen by y'all. I can't stand doing that. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, the Tucker giggle, it kind of has to be spontaneous for it to work. No, see, I'm not. The Biden administration doesn't want us to read Tales from the Tavern. We investigated. Here's what we found out. See, yeah, I'm trying to force it. I can't make it work. Elven Maid Inn kitchen secret. So we have a recipe here. Elven ingredients and replacement. So if you're just one of those mundane humans, you can make this. And this is just basically just like a what the hell is this? It's like a mushroom pie. I'm getting hungry. I'm going to be eating after this. Emmy facts. Did you know mimics are the bane of adventurers everywhere, shapeshifting into all manners of objects to catch them off guard? That treasure chest you're eyeing might just have teeth. That's what she said. That door you're about to open could swallow you whole. That's what she said. Trust me, you don't want to find yourself on the business end of one of these buggers. That's what she said. They'll have you wishing you'd stayed home. Oh, a treasure chest. Eek, it's so dark. It's so scary. Only the killer ones. Only the large ones, Emmy. The smaller ones are nice. The Biden administration told us the village of Greenhaven wasn't something you should read. We investigated. Here's what we found out. So yes, there's an ad for Village of Greenhaven, which I need to review. Snowy's Maps Emporium, which again, you can download those. See, I got to do the squeak harder when I say that. You know. So we're wondering if we're sending our troops into Toril, don't we have dragons here we have to worry about? I don't know. I'm not doing a good job. That's good. Okay, here's a maze. We're not solving this maze. I mean, it's a nice good Lord. Okay, I can't even with this. We have a lovely piece of artwork there. This is this is the Siren from Dmitry Ivanov. We're only halfway through this book, by the way, guys. Yeah, map that. Just every dead end, there's a monster. And there's beholders floating around. So we have the Siren here. This is a critter that Emmy created. We have another ad, Corpse Kings, a gothic horror TTRPG. So she goes into like a whole ecology of here. Do we get to stats at the end? More Emmy facts. Liches ain't just your run-of-the-mill undead. We know this. There's a Minotaur in that maze, but he's lost too. So we have an encounter area. And here we go. Oh, that's right. I remember talking to Emmy about this when I gave her the stat block for AD&D. So they're rare. Number appearing 1, AC 5, move 12 inches on the ground, 24 inches flying, 5 hit dice, 25% in lair, treasure type E in their nest. Number of attacks 2, 1 claw and a bite. She bites, boys. I mean, I don't know. You're a high level fighter. Could be worth it. They're chaotic neutral. You need a +1 or better weapon to hit her. Let's see. So, like harpies, QV, a siren can sing, which has the same effect as charming as a spell. All who hear it and are not normally immune to charm type spells. All those who can hear her song must save versus spells at -2 or fall under her sway. Additionally, the siren can let loose a piercing shriek. Any who hear it must save versus spells at -2 or suffer a penalty of -2 on 2-hit rolls against the siren or any of her allies. Those affected can attempt to save versus spells at the beginning of each round thereafter until the spell is broken. Once an affected individual makes a successful save against the shriek, they are immune to it for 24 hours thereafter. Oh, yes, they call it the shriek. Woo! And then we have, so that was like the AD&D siren. This is like the 5e siren. Mirthgar Entertainment ad. Oh, no, I think this is, I'm sorry. This is the Castles and Crusades siren. This is the 5e siren. Not sure which siren that's supposed to be. But it's for many, many different rules. Horde Wars. Many, many different rule sets. Horde Wars. My favorite police song is Dream Police. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have made that joke. That was a cheap trick of me. So we have another map, and you can download the high-res version. We're Touched. Homebrew race for Castles and Crusaders. So your We're Touched, they're a unique race born from the bloodlines of lycanthropes. While they bear the traits of their lupine ancestors, they do not carry the curse of lycanthropy, and their transformations are innate rather than infectious. We're Touched typically dwell in the wilderness, forming packs and living in harmony with nature. Furries. And we have a little Emmy fact about griffins there. Is it Raven? I have not played it. And let's see. This is a Grimm's game. You can go to postmort.com if you want to do that. Library spells for every bookworm in the kingdom. So there's some cool library spells. for keeping track of stuff. We have the classic Chimera. Is this not covered in 5th ed? Huh. From Lost Lore Scholar. We have an article on cursed items. Let's see. As someone who experienced D&D in the 90s in both pen and paper and computer forms, I can confidently say this. The 5th edition of D&D made a huge mistake by ditching cursed items. I didn't know it did, and now knowing that it does makes it suck. So here, basically, this article reintroduces cursed items into your game with some lovely bits of artwork. The Nerd Cognito Podcast. We like the nerds. Valen Erd lore. So this is for the gaming world of Valen Erd. So you got like a whole campaign area here, guys, is right at your fingertips. The Tome of Maps Forest Edition, and you can get that right there. A movies crossword. Oh, I tried to do this one, and I like kept. You know, the thing with crosswords is you mess up a couple, and you're boned, right? You know, it screws up a lot of stuff. So. One thing furries don't do is live in harmony. That's very true. Not much Code Red Mountain Dew and Cool Ranch Doritos out there in nature. So we have a review of The Black Company here. Okay, so tell me, guys, I've never read these books. Are they good? Are the Black Company books good? Because I've never read them. So it's a review. I don't want to go into the review because this looks like a big review, and I don't want a bunch of spoilers if they're good. Grave for Us All, Willow Wraith Press here. Ebook, paperback, and hardcover. I think this is this is a chicken pineapple salad. All right, Bob seems to recommend it, so I'll check that out. We have more on the Valen Erd lore. And again, this is like a whole thing here, guys. This is like an entire campaign world built. Baptism of Fire, tabletop role-playing game ad. A video game crossword. Talking about trolls there. Harmony Hair Chromatic Transmutation. Let's see. Takes a full round to cast. Range, self, components, VSM, a lock of the target hair. I'm not going to try and say that. Upon completing the incantations and performing the necessary gesture, the caster combines the powdered gemstone with a lock of hair. Subsequently, the hair undergoes a metamorphic process, assuming the desired color with a mystical sheen. The duration of the effect varies based on the caster's proficiency and the quality of the components employed, typically ranging from several hours to several days. Well, there you go. And I think I know the people about whom this is kind of an in-joke. What's up with Chibi Emmy? What's not up with Chibi Emmy? I think it's wonderful. Is that spell a shot at Ginny D? Ginny Die? I don't know how you pronounce it. Oh, Kabuki wants to know if I own any Harn books. If I do, they're buried in a locker somewhere, and I don't know that I do. Jimmy says I like the Black Company, so I'll check it out. The Quill and Magic Guild present winner of the first edition Writers Royale Knights versus Monsters. So we have a little story there, which get the book and read it, or get this issue and read it, guys. I'm not gonna, I've been kind of scrolling through. Do we have bookmarks? We don't. I have to talk to Emmy about putting bookmarks in here. Halsey. T-Shirted Historian, that's another YouTube channel you guys should definitely check out. Do like T-Shirted Historian. There's the Crossword Solutions. A call to action to join the staff. Advertisement. Now, again, because of how YouTube does its disclosures and everything, you guys saw an ad from me, read in the Alex Jones voice. You guys are welcome. This is not, I was gifted my advertisement in this issue. Emmy was very nice to me and gifted me an issue. I am putting an adventure in either issue 2 or 3. I don't know which one she'll want it. And of course, we have the outro. As you reach the final page of our magazine, we want to express our deepest gratitude for your unwavering support. Your journey through these pages means more to us than words can convey. Our mission to promote creators is at the heart of everything we do. That's why in our inaugural issue, all advertisements were graciously given away for free. So there you go. Everybody did get that. Our commitment to showcasing talent and celebrating creativity remains unwavering. To ensure that our magazine continues to thrive and provide a platform for creators, we need your support. As part of our pledge to keep our content accessible to all, our magazine will always be free to download. This promise will stand as long as I am in charge. If you believe our mission and want to support us in our endeavor, please consider visiting our Ko-Fi page at Elven Maid Inn. Your contributions will help us maintain our commitment to fostering creativity and providing a space for creators to shine. Follow us on X, and you guys should definitely follow Emmy if you're over on Twitter to stay updated with our latest news and releases. We value your feedback, so please let us know how we can improve our magazine. Your insights are invaluable as we continue to grow and evolve. Once again, thank you for joining us on this journey. Together, we can continue to make a difference in the world of creativity and beyond. So that is Elven Maid Inn, issue 1. Again, I was gifted it, but I think given the fact that you get like a campaign setting, I personally think it's pretty all right. I think it's pretty all right. But of course, you know, what do you guys think? I think it's I think it's an absolutely wonderful little zine. You know, a few rough spots in production here. I'm not going to review it right now, but what I am going to say is, unlike a lot of the stuff that I've gone through, old magazines, old books, you know, things like that, where the creators have drifted off and gone to other gone to other projects or what have you. I can tell you, knowing the person who's created this, that it's awesome. And if you guys support this, you know, definitely check it out. Emmy is awesome. She is approachable. You know, she's not sitting up in some ivory tower somewhere where, you know, no, I am the creator and you will. It's pretty darn cool, and I hope she stays at it. And $8, well, $9, not counting shipping and handling for a print version. You know, even if she only does a few more issues, personally, I think they're worth having. So I hope you guys enjoyed that deep dive. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed the zine, and I don't just say that because I'm in it. I quite dug it. Yes, Kabuki, I was hoping you guys wouldn't be able to, so let me see here. There, I set reduce mic background noise, and hopefully that muffles the sound seeping out of there. Yes, it is awesome stuff from Emmy. So I think I'm probably going to wrap up. The Alex Jones voice kind of clapped me out, guys. But listen, I'll be back tomorrow night. I might get ranty tomorrow night. I haven't decided on what I'm going to do tomorrow night. Or maybe I'll grab Emmy and drag her kicking and screaming into the studio with me. Emmy, come here. But anyway, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us tonight. Big thank you to Wave of Mutilation for the super, for what he wanted to hear. Of course, you guys know. But we'll see tomorrow. We'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow. And am I going to go ranty? So, thanks again, everyone. I'm going to go eat some dinner. You guys are going to have to go tell Emmy that she has no choice now. She cannot escape. But yeah, as far as the rant goes, we'll just have to see. But until then, everyone, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you. I mean this sincerely. Thank you, Kyle, for coming in the audience and hanging out tonight. I know you had stuff going on, but I really appreciate it, brother. I do. And I appreciate everybody. I appreciate every single one of you. Love you all. You guys be good to each other. And until tomorrow night, watch out, because the owl bear is like guarding the front of the house for me. Peace.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me